Okay, so it's recording. So a couple things. I wanted to do this call, and I don't know if you guys have felt this way. I know some of you guys are newer, been around for maybe 6 months or a year. Um, but with sneak peeks, I think that is a part of the business where, like, we can talk about fitness in our challenge groups all day long, right? Like, we have no problem. We wake up and we do it every single day. I think where we struggle is trying to find the right balance and the right way of talking about coaching. So for me, I was finding myself getting in a rut with talking, or not talking, but like which way and which route to go about with sneak peeks. So we've been doing the Facebook group, which, oh, you know what, I'm going to mute everyone. Or if you can just mute yourself.
Oh yeah, that's okay.
Okay, good. Everyone's muted. But yeah, so I just felt like we're doing the Facebook group, and I think they're good and they're interactive, but I also found that I wasn't getting the same interaction. Sometimes I felt like not as many people were watching it, and I kind of was losing that excitement with it as well. And so I just felt like I needed to change it up. So when I was watching a few other coaches who I like to follow on Instagram, they're not top coaches. I don't like to follow a ton. Every now and then I'll go peek at people, but there's one girl in particular who I like to watch. Like, she's kind of at the same level as me, but she had elite last year. And anyway, I saw that she was running them just on Instagram, not a different Instagram page, but just on her Instagram stories. And so she had mentioned that she got the idea when I was listening to her team call that Melanie Mitro had started doing them like that. And then you probably can see with Melanie, she does a lot of her coaching, like, invites on her stories. And so that's how she got the idea of doing it. And so I started being like, you know what, maybe that's the way to do it. And I still think it's important to do the Facebook one if that is, where, like, we're going to continue to do them as a team. I think it's important to keep plugging people in there. And we have a lot of people in that Facebook sneak peek. But this will hopefully give you guys just another tool that you can try to use and just try new things, see what sticks. And so I'm going to show my screen here in a second. And you can either run with it. You can choose whether it's for you or not. Or you can decide, like, you know what, I'm going to hold off on it. I'm going to try it again later. And you can come back to this call and look at the slides and see, kind of how I did it again. And that's, I got to say, that is the really cool thing about this business, is that you can't get caught up in, okay, well, this is what she's doing, I need to do it that way. Or she's doing it that there's no right or wrong way, but you have to just try it, right? It's like, you got to put yourself out there. You got to figure out what's working for you, because what's working for me may not work for you. So let me go ahead and share my screen. And we will get started. Let me just make sure. Hold on. Okay, good. All of a sudden I got scared that I wasn't recording it. Okay. Okay. So I recommend you guys, look, it is a sneak peek, but I was calling them IG coach takeovers. And I wanted to let my followers, my people, know ahead of time that I was going to be doing that on, let's say, Tuesday. And I would let them know a couple days ahead.
Good day.
And so the main points is why I run them, how to run them, when to do the most effective time that worked for me, and the do's and don'ts with them. So, like, I kind of already went over why I run them, why I changed it up just to give it a shot. And then we'll go over how to run them, how I think is the best way to do it. And obviously I need to tweak some things that I did and not go as long. Tammy, it wasn't letting me mute everyone. There we go. Okay. So why do them? You guys, I found that if your people are watching you and you're doing the majority of your stuff on Instagram, or maybe it's even Facebook, you don't want them to have to go somewhere else. So for example, if I'm following someone on Instagram and they're like, follow me here if you want to learn more about this giveaway, or I don't want to have to go click on a link and then I have to accept it or they have to add me, even though people do it. I just want to be able to get the information right then and there. So I find that they don't want to go somewhere else to get the information. The other thing about them is that you can record them and then you can delete and add to highlight. So for example, let's say the first time you do them, you're like, oh my gosh, I just went way too long. Well, you know what? Delete it, because you don't need to share it to your stories at that moment. But you can just maybe record and then save it for later. And then you can share it along with your like basically your series of stories that you're going to be doing. And then you can add it to your highlights. So for me, I put it in my coach info sesh, I believe I called it. And that way I can say, oh, did you check I saw that you were watching my stories. Did you happen to check out my coach info session and learn a little bit more? Do you have any questions? And like, oh, I didn't really catch everything, but I am interested. I can just say, oh, you know what? Go to my highlights. It says coach info session or coach info sesh. And you can hear all about like what I do as a coach, how I started, kind of where I've taken it, how we earn, and you can see if it's a good fit for you. It'll take them max 15 minutes or less to go through it. But it forces you to be interactive too, and short with your words and focused. So on the right here, I recommend doing something like this, like, hey, I'm doing an info sesh on what I do as a coach soon. How do you want to get the info? And even though like I don't want them to say, send me a PDF or Facebook group, I just want to know where. Maybe it is Facebook. Maybe if it was, then I would recommend doing Facebook and sticking to, doing a sneak peek there. But for me, I found that it was Instagram stories. And for the send me a PDF, I was like, well, I don't really have one. We kind of have one that's like what we do as a coach, but I just kind of wanted to gather what my audience would want. So I recommend doing that kind of maybe question poll to kind of see what your people would want from you. So the other thing that I like to do, this is what I did, is find out from your audience what wants to see most a few days before the coach info sesh. That way you kind of have an idea of what you're going to talk about. So for me, here are the different polls that I did. And before I did the first one, I just said, hey guys, can you help me out and answer and let me know what you prefer? And then it was a series of these polls. So like I said, which one, why I said no first, why I failed first. You can read them right here. But I love this part. In fact, I should probably go through because I had a lot of people click on them. And I don't know if they never clicked on my poll later that they wanted more information, but it was like for the people that were curious about how I did this while working or why or how I did this while momming, like right now. Those are the people where I should go back to, but that's why I love these polls is you can always go back and look at the people that did it. And so I kind of compiled my series of stories and what I like my graphics as well, based on what I got back from these. And some were like 50-50, right? But either way, you can easily do this. And I recommend doing it, like I said, a few days before. So you're prepared before you do it, because I'll be honest with you, it took me longer than I expected, but you just have to set time aside before you do it. And then you'll be prepared, the day that you decide to do it. So number one, choose top 3 topics. So my main topics, and I'm going to go over other topics that you can use later, but I went over how I started, like where I was before. I was a stressed out, anxious, working mom. And that's where I started. I really did. That's where I was. And then I show like what has changed from then, what has become of me while being a coach. And then I went over what we do as coaches and how we earn an income. So those are my main 3 topics. Of course, there are other ones that you can do if these are ones that you don't really want to start with, and I'm going to go over that at the end. But 2, you have to have a plan. Like I said, it does take some time. So don't think you can go, okay, I'm going to do it tomorrow and I'm going to be able to do these videos and everything. And guess what? The kids are going to wake up from their nap. You're going to get like maybe 2 series done. And then you're going to feel frantic that you're going to have to do it late at night when they go to bed. So my opinion is to have the graphics done. And the videos, you don't have to have done ahead of time. I just did that in the moment, but I knew when I was going to do a video and when I was going to do a graphic. So with the video, simplify what's said. Take your story and condense it and do it max 2 minutes, because otherwise you're going to have tiny little dots on your stories. And I find the more little dots that I have, the less engagement that I typically have. So it just helped me not be as wordy, because I have that problem. And to really work on my story. Like, it helped me be like, okay, what is my story? How do I want this to come across? And then graphics, you want to simplify what's said and create a visual effect. So for me, I'm a visual person. So I wanted people to know like how we earn. That way they're like, okay, she's going to go over how we earn. I'm going to stay tuned for what's coming up. And how I did that, and I just went over like, there's word swag. I love using word swag to write on photos. But what I used mainly for this was the app Unfold. And I like it because it's clean. It's just black and white. And you can add your photo to it. I've been doing it for my challenge groups, or promoting my challenge groups too. And the best part about it is it's saved in that app with that title. So I can, when I do this next month, I'm going to already have it all lined up, and I can tweak it with different visuals. I can tweak it if I'm like, oh, I didn't really like the verbiage of this, but it's all laid out in the sequence that you had done it already. So you don't have to always be like, oh, I got to start over again. And then engagement, plan out when to engage. And what I mean by that is, oh, oops, sorry. And what I mean by that is you have to make sure that you're not just talking the whole time. So for example, I recommend saying something like, what is the biggest fear that's holding you back, or that would hold you back? Or for example, do you have any family members that you think you could inspire or help on their health and fitness journey? I want them to start envisioning what I do, and them thinking, oh, maybe I can do what Kelly does, right? Because that's the whole point of showing you guys what we do, right? Like, we want people to say, oh my God, that just looks way too hard and difficult. No, I want people like, well, you know what? Yeah, she works, but wow, she gets to inspire others. She has fun. She works on herself. And all she's doing is sharing it with other people and getting paid to do so, and growing a team in a very positive atmosphere. Like, I think I can do that. So I wanted to show people too, like, how much time I put into this business. And then of course you got to invite to it. So you can do a main post with it, or you can just do a series of stories, and let people know that you're going to do an IG takeover, Instagram takeover. So use polls, questions, or the question box, do DM invites. So people who, have been watching you, or maybe they've inquired before, or that's a good time to let your challengers know too. Like, hey, I'm going to be doing an Instagram takeover my stories. I would love for you to catch it if you're interested in coaching, if you've been having that conversation. And then I also like to do the if I would you. So like, hey, if I was going to do it, an Instagram coach info session on my Instagram stories, would you happen to pop on for about 20 minutes and watch my stories at some point throughout the day? Get that commitment from people. And simple graphic, letting people know when you'll be doing it. So I let everyone know, I hear my kids. I wanted everyone to know, hey, I'm going to be coming in on Tuesday to go over what I do as a coach. Let me know what you would like to hear. And that's when I did those series of polls. You can do the questions box, so you can ask a series of questions. Or just in general, the question box, like, what is your main fear? What would be holding you back from what I do? What would your hesitations be, for example? Okay, so I already said this. Do you have family members you can inspire to be healthy? And so during the series that I was doing it, you guys, between my visuals and then when I would talk, so I would do, and you can go to my Instagram page and kind of see how I did it and laid it out. Like I said, I feel like I was still a little too wordy. I want to know exactly when I should go talk to the camera versus use the visuals. But I do think it was a good mix. And the whole point of this, you guys, is I'm trying to relate to other women who are watching me. Maybe they can relate to my story. They can relate to where I was and where I am today. They can see like why I decided to coach and get over my fears. And I want to share the emotional side. I want to share like, oh my gosh, like here's my coach story. Like I said, from being a stressed out working mom of 2 under 2 to becoming a work from home mom who is happy, filled with joy, passion, and purpose. And I do show like, yeah, and then I show a series of like what exactly I do and how we earn an income, and how much time you need to put into this, because I want people to think if she can, then I can too, right? And then keep it simple. Sorry, I'm gonna mute. I don't know who I hear. I don't know why. So it shows everyone's muted, but oh, here we go. I'm muting someone. Okay, so keep it simple. How we earn. Always, I'm going to always address this because I think it can be confusing, even for new coaches. Like, how do we earn money again? I know we earn retail commission, but then what's this whole bonus thing? So I didn't want to go, too intense with that, or explain too much with that, because it is kind of confusing. But I wanted to show that we do earn in two ways: commissions and bonuses. So I want people to know, like, yeah, if you basically help and you partner up a woman with fitness and nutrition, you're going to earn about $50-ish per person. So if you help 3, that's $150. And then I also wanted people to know that bonuses are uncapped. And I wanted to show that's based on your team's success, basically not earned by just signing up a bunch of coaches, but helping your team, helping your coaches do what I do. So I tried to make it super simple. I also wanted to show my monthly income progression. So, but first I did a poll and I didn't share it to the next day. And I just wanted to say, and this is exactly what I did: would you like to see what this business done for me? And you might be sitting there going, yeah, but Kelly, I don't have that kind of income yet. Well, that's okay. There's so many other ways that you can be sharing about coaching. So maybe it's the fact that it paid for, I don't know, like a date night, a dinner, or you were able to cover the grocery haul one day. Or, it can be as simple as that, you guys, where you are just letting people know, like, there's a real opportunity attached to this. And how cool is it? You don't even feel like it's work. You just show up, you work on yourself, you're becoming healthier, becoming more fit, and you're inviting other people to do it, and you got a paycheck for that. And you can just share, how has that helped you? And so when to do it, I personally don't necessarily recommend doing it on a weekend or a Monday. I feel like Mondays are like, people are like rushing back to work. They're trying to get back in the groove of things. Even myself, I feel like I'm all over the place trying to get my routine back. I have 2 of my kids with me on Mondays. So I feel like people are a little bit more checked out. So I would recommend Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday to do this, and reserve 1 hour of work time, or you can spread out 3 sections throughout the day. So for example, let's say you were going to wake up early and do, go address one thing in the morning, and then at noon, and then at night. I don't think, you guys, there's a wrong way to do this. I do think it's best if it's in a series, but you got to do what's convenient for you, and you just got to play around with it. And then you can save to highlights and reference highlights for those who missed it, or who maybe have inquired or been interested in the past. That way you can say, you know what, I think you would love what I do. Do you mind just watching my Instagram stories? It's just on my highlights. I go over what I do exactly. And if you have any questions, let me know. It should take you 5-ish minutes, maybe 10 minutes. So I already went over that. And then after the peak, so after the coach info session, I wanted to make sure that I messed up. What I'm going to do next time is, I had a couple of my full-on discount coaches say, I'm ready to go back in it. I'm ready. I need to do this. Or they never have coached, but they're ready to coach. And I should have added their names in here and showed it, so people saw, like, oh, she's getting people. And I just never did it. And the week got away from me. Mom life, right? It happens. But you learn, like I said, you learn as you go. So you want to, have that, what is it called? FOMO, right? You want to say, it's just like in our challenge groups, I have 5 spots left. Oh, these 2 are taken. It's the same thing in this new coach mentorship, or, whatever you want to call it. And then again, use engagement polls, question boxes, et cetera, to invite and follow up. And I did have a couple people that clicked on these who said, I want more information. So it was perfect for me to start that conversation, and also go back to people who I saw that had watched my stories and watched the series, and just say, hey, I saw that you caught my my coach info session, or my coach I don't know, whatever you want to say, coach info group that I did on my stories. Were you interested at all? I would love to share a little bit more about it with you if you were, or if you have any questions, let me know. And I'm not going to say like, oh my gosh, do you want to coach? I saw you took my poll, or I saw that you watched all my stories. Are you interested in what I do? I try to start the conversation first because you guys, I know how hard it is to just click that button. I know how hard it is for someone to, even when you ask them like, hey, I saw that you had watched my stories or my series. I don't know if you're interested or not, but I would love to share a little bit more about it with you if you've ever been intrigued, right? Like you just want to start that engagement, because what's the worst that's going to happen? They're going to ignore you, or they're going to say, actually, yes, I had, and this has happened where people have said, actually, yes, I don't think I could do what you do, but I do want to have, more financial freedom, and I do love fitness. So people always have their own fears. And so if I'm initiating it, it's always going to help get that conversation flowing. And then I don't need to sign them up as a coach right away if that's what their fear is. I can be like, well, let's sign you up as a challenger. Let's get you to love the programs, love the community, and then we can transition you to a coach. So those are the conversations that I typically have. So like I said, Melanie Mitro, she was the one who said that she had been doing these on Instagram stories. So here are some of her topics that you can do. So for example, you guys, let's say you're like, yeah, but maybe you don't want to do a coaching story, but you're more of a health, physical transformation story. Awesome. You can do that with be doing a coach info session or a coach takeover, Instagram takeover. It's just like what Melanie had here, my transformations. Like you can go over and you can do it on Unfold, you can do it on Canva, or you don't even have to use any of those apps, you guys. You can make it as simple as possible if this is your first time ever doing it and it seems overwhelming, where you just want to let people know like, oh, wow, like I never realized the impact these programs had on you, and it would be nice to pick something once a week. Like, you know what, I'm going to talk about products and what it's done for me. I'm going to talk about my transformation one week, or the travel perks, how you've been able to earn these trips, or how you're like working hard to earn free trips because your company is going to reward you if you help this amount of people every month. So these are all different topics that we can use, and I can share this in the team page as well. Here are just more topics you can cover that Melanie had shared. I can let you guys read it, but basically it's just giving you an idea that you got to do what you feel most comfortable with. So like I said, you might not feel ready to necessarily go out there and share about income, or you're not. I get that. But if you want to share how coaching has helped you transform in a physical manner, and maybe the friendships that you've made, and you want to talk to that mom out there or that woman who feels that she's lacking community or lacking like that motivation to get up in the morning, but you have that, gosh, you need to share that. You need to talk about that and how coaching has done that for you. Or maybe it's helped you to stay more accountable. Okay, so yes, it can be overwhelming at first. Like I said earlier, we can post about challenge groups all day long. And really, this is no different. And we just need to let others know why you're a coach, right? So people may be like, oh yeah, you're always talking about fitness and you're always inviting. But I would honestly ask one of your friends, like, have you noticed that I talk about coaching at all? And evaluate, do a true, like, I don't know, like, evaluate yourself, look at your feed, look at your stories. Like, how often are you really talking about coaching and inviting people into either a sneak peek or a coach, Instagram story takeover, something like that. And like I said, this is just a new and different way to do it. And there's no right or wrong way. But it's trial and error, you guys. And I just wanted to share something that I believe worked for me, because most of my audience is on Instagram. And for a lot of you, I know that you can actually link it to Facebook. And so that way you can see like, okay, how many people are taking my poll on Facebook and doing all that? Because people are still watching stories on Facebook too. And so you might get pretty good traction on Facebook compared to Instagram. I'm not sure. We're all different, right? But you got to find what works for you. Okay, so I'm going to stop the share, see if you guys had any questions.
Sorry, did you say how many people signed up after you did this?
2.
Were they, and you said they were brand new people?
One was new and one had been a discount for, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years.
Was the new girl completely new to Beachbody, or she already did challenge groups in the past?
Yeah, she did sign up as a coach. So she was someone who was new to Beachbody. Okay. But she loves health and fitness and like you guys, I know that's a lot of work to only get 2 people. Like I know that, but I also think I didn't end it that day, like over the weekend. So I think I did it last Wednesday, and then on Friday, I shared again just a few different things about coaching. And I just reached out to 4 people today, because that's how far behind I am from people that took my poll that said, I'm interested but nervous, or, you know, I love information, or maybe I'd like to do this. I always try to make it so it's like how I would feel.
Yeah, I think 2 is great. I think you're, with any of this stuff, we're laying the foundation and giving people information and piquing their interest and showing them what we do in different ways. So I think having 2 people sign up right away is great, but it's like now you have way more information about people who are interested too.
Yeah, and like I said, and it's hard, you guys, like Nicole and I were just saying before our new coach call today, like we both got our kids down and it was like, all right, on the call. And I don't have a lot of time to work this business. I know we're all busy. And so you have to really map out your month. You have to really map out when you're going to do certain things, because you're not going to be like, okay, I'm going to do that Instagram, takeover. I think I'm just going to do it tomorrow, and it's like, you need to make sure, honestly, I would have it more prepared. I would do the polls, get an idea of what your audience wants to hear from you. And then that way you actually know what they want to hear. Like I couldn't believe how many people wanted to know why I failed first. And then people wanted to know what I disliked the most, because I think they're like, well, I didn't want to sugarcoat it, right? I wanted to share, hey, this is what's hard, but anything that you do in life is hard. Any job is hard. I used to be working, long hours. I wasn't passionate about what I was doing. I was leaving my kids every day. That is hard. What I do now is hard in a different way. Yes, I reach out to strangers and I share my journey. To some people, they think that's absurd, right? But I try to share that I know that I could use this platform to help inspire and to help connect and help me share my story with others that might need my story. And so when I say that stuff, I try to go over that in my series. And that way people can either say like, all right, it's like I'm planting seeds. And then I should have gone back to everyone that took my poll just to be like, hey, I don't know if I addressed what you wanted to hear. I saw you took my poll. Have you ever been interested or curious about coaching? Because I know you took basically all my polls. And maybe they didn't end up saying they want more information at the end. That's okay. But I recommend that you do that, where you can easily follow up with people who took your poll, or all your polls.
Did you, for those 2 people, Cal, did you get on the phone with them? I know one was a discount coach, maybe not, but the other person, was that like the next step to actually speak with them?
No. So what I did, the discount coach, we were going back and forth on Instagram, and she's like, well, she's pregnant with her second. And so she's envisioning herself. She probably saw herself in my story. Like I was pregnant, didn't want to go back to work. That's how she feels. And so she's like, I know I never tried coaching, but I really want to try and go all in again. Can you add me to your current group and anything else that you have going on right now with coaching? That way I could just finish this challenge and then kind of just get myself feeling better from her first trimester. And I said, absolutely, let's take the pressure off of anything with coaching right now. Let's just focus on you again, because she hadn't worked out her whole first trimester. So if she was someone who was like, all right, Kelly, I want to sign up. I want to be not just a discount coach. I want to work the business. Then I would say, okay, great. We have our new Coach Help One group starting on Monday. And I would set up a call with her as well. So I would say, you know what, I want to have a call with you in a week That way I could help you after the email that I sent her. We can just kind of go over just your goals, what I expect from you, how I can help you and mentor you, and not keep it too long, maybe like 15, 20 minutes. But with her, I didn't do a call or anything. The other girl, she just signed up as a challenger. So she didn't sign up as a coach. She's going to go all in the group, and hopefully she falls in love with it. That's the goal, right? And then I would sign her up. And if you haven't listened to, Nicole did her call. Was that last week, Nicole? Or 2 weeks ago? The new coach getting started right call?
What do you mean?
Your call.
Recruiting tips?
No, it was like how to get coaches started off right, like what your process is that you did.
Oh, yeah, that's where I did the 5 recruiting tips, and then at the end I talked about the getting started right. Yeah.
Yeah, I recommend you guys, if you feel kind of lost on what to do with new coaches, Nicole laid it out in that call the other week, and I already changed my onboarding process to make it more simple. And I have an email that's strictly for discount. I have an email that's for hobby and business coach. And I don't want to get sidetracked, but just so you know, that was our team call recently.
Yeah, I mean, everyone who I see on this call right now should be able to do an Instagram coach sneak peek. Like, we've all been coaching a while. Like, you should have the confidence and the ability to host your own on your stories.
Yeah, and I know Nicole and Kim, they run it differently. So they do the Instagram page. They have a completely different page, and that is another way that you can do it. For me, that just put more work on my plate in the beginning. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it in my stories, and I'm going to kind of make it see how I'm going to change some of my topics up every month, see what kind of traction I get. And then if I need to change it up again, I will. But I feel like people follow me on my stories, and I get pretty good traction there. So this was a good option for me.
And we are doing the apprenticeship again. So that's happening next Monday, really soon. So you can invite people to that. And anyone who's ever been interested in coaching before, I would highly recommend plugging them into the apprenticeship. I had the best, I had 4 people join me as a coach from the apprenticeship, which is the highest I've ever had in any sneak peek or anything. So I definitely recommend plugging people in, because I feel like it really helps people feel the community and feel, I don't know, I thought it was good. And it was our first time doing it, so I'm sure we could just get better.
That's on Facebook?
Yeah, so that's on Facebook. So it's a different way to, obviously. The people
it's for prospects.
Yeah, so they can be challengers. Originally, I was thinking it was going to be more for people who were brand new to Beachbody, because we set them up with the free trial if they don't have it, and then we like kind of log a workout on the first day, kind of like a challenge group, to show them that. But I found that most of the people who ended up joining were actually my past challengers who wanted to join, and a couple actually discount coaches. But I still feel like they really liked logging the workouts every day. They were doing it the whole week. I mean, we told people to do that, but people were really into like the community aspect of the apprenticeship and the interactiveness.
Okay. It was like the trial run. Be a coach for 5 days. Is that the thing you're talking about? Oh, okay. I remember. Got it.
Yeah. So when it's just now, I mean, we're planning to do the apprenticeship monthly, and I have this, it's kind of awkward timing, like where most of us are also I'm doing an accountability group on the 21st. So this is the week I'm really pushing for that. And then we're also having the apprenticeship. But I probably will do some stories and invite to it. I didn't really do a lot of stories last time, but I did more private invites last time. And then I did a newsletter or like an email blast to everyone. That's how I got a lot of people interested, past customers.
Yeah, I found that we kept it really interactive. In fact, we're going to put some of the activities that we had them do in that group into our new Coach Help One group, because I was amazed at like how many people did the activity of the color wheel. It was like, I think every single person posted their 5 traits or 10 traits or the color wheel. And they did that activity. And we're trying to show them that like, just because we're coaches doesn't mean that's all we post about is health and fitness. We wanted them to show them like, look at all these other cool things that make up you. And the feedback that I got, people were like, oh my God, I loved it. Like, you guys have a great community, because it was just very interactive. So I would do your best with reaching out to challengers, people who you think would be good coaches. Like, hey, I know you've told me no, or I know that you're just wanting to stay as a customer or discount coach, but you're already doing what I do. Why don't you just test this group out and see how you like it for a week? You know, and you have nothing to lose.
I actually, I just told 2 of my ones in my current challenge group. One of them was already a discount coach, and she wants to work it now just from being in. I mean, I was already talking to her about it, but it was a good opportunity for her to see that. And then the other just challenger, she signed up and she wants to be a working coach with that. So it was really great. And I mean, even though you guys were leading it, but I just engaged a little bit with them on that. And so I really appreciate it. I think it was really great.
Yeah, good.
One of the goals, I was talking to my husband who's in marketing about the apprenticeship. And one of the things he was like, you need to take like the main fear that everyone writes on the new coach form that they fill out for me is that they don't want to bug their friends and family, or they don't want to be that person. So I think that like what we did in the apprenticeship was basically show them that it's not about, splashing Beachbody all over your social media and bugging people. It's about truly helping people and adding value and sharing your life. And I think that was the hurdle that like a lot of people had to get over in order to be in it, in order to decide to be a coach. Because that was also the feedback I got from people who said they were signing up. They're like, I can see myself doing this. And I actually have like 4 other people who did it who were like, now's not the time, but I really want to join at some point. Whereas honestly, when I do sneak peeks, a lot of times people don't even respond to my messages after they've joined the sneak peek, or, I obviously have had people join from sneak peeks too, but I feel like the feedback and the communication I had with the people in the apprenticeship was just a lot more frequent and positive.
Yeah, we'll share like I'll do a blurb again on our team page. I'll do it tomorrow. And that way you guys can see like the bullet points of what it is, because that will help you compile not necessarily a post for it, but in your stories, and to personally invite people too, because personal invites is the way to go. If you're not doing personal invites, people aren't just like jumping at new things. They're busy, life gets hectic. I'm finding that I have to do that for my challengers too. I have to reach out to a lot of people now. But that's okay. I don't mind that.
Yeah, I think also the reason we did the apprenticeship was because for the timing is because it does lead straight into your challenge group. So if they are new to Beachbody, you can just have them immediately get set up with the challenge group and then do the new coach training. That was kind of the thought we had. Whereas usually the info session is like mid challenge group, so that the people they just started, they're excited. Now they're going to do the info session, then they're going to join. So we do have some logic to like the timing of these groups, but we can definitely think about it a little bit more.
Yeah, we might do it every other month. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We just, like I said, you guys, it's all, and that's kind of how this Instagram takeover was for me. I just felt like what I was doing was flat. Like I would forget to invite people. Like, oh my gosh, we have our sneak peek tomorrow on Facebook. I got to invite people and I got to make a post. And I just felt like, and that's my fault, but I think I needed to change it up. And so I love it that I have the ability to be like, okay, I'm going to do it next, or in 2 weeks on a Wednesday. So Sunday, I'm going to do the polls, see what people want to hear, do some questions or whatever. And then I'm going to address all that on that Wednesday when I decide to do it. So you can start preparing yourself for it. And then in Unfold, like I said, I could go back when I want to do it again and look at the series that I did, and I can change it if I want, but I could use the same ones if I was really didn't have the time to do it.
How often are you going to do it? Sorry.
What?
How often do you plan to do it?
Once a month.
Just once a month. You don't think more than that? Or would it be detrimental to do more than that?
No, I talk about coaching a lot. Like, I feel like I'm, always, I don't know, inviting, like I found myself doing it like 3 days later. And it's amazing that you get different people viewing it. And if you are just inspired to talk about it and do a poll at the end or swipe up or however you want to do it, I'm amazed at the different people that I get. So I do think you need to do it more than once a month. But with the IG takeover, I'm just doing it like the full series. I'm just going to do it once a month, but I'm also going to sprinkle it in at different times as well. Anyone else? I know, I feel like we're all just tired. It's especially for you, Shelly. And I didn't know you were a Washington Husky.
Oh, no, that's Washington University in St. Louis.
Oh, I'm looking at the purple and
Yeah.
I didn't see that part. I'm like,
Oh.
wait, hold on a second. I did not know you went to UW, but.
Yeah, no, I got my MBA from it's a Washington University in St. Louis.
Oh, okay.
It's a school.
Love it. All right. Oh, I'm going to take a picture of us. Okay. Letting everyone know. Awesome. All right, guys.
Hi guys. First time joining Zoom.
I know. I love it, Marie. Thanks for hopping
Hi,
on.
Marie.
Long time follower, first time listener. Or was it the
I
other
love
way?
it. Bye, guys.